Okay, we are geeks, and we can prove it because we wear these silly hats. And we wear these to kind of make sure that we don't take ourselves too seriously. Another word for a geek is propeller head, So we have these propeller heads, and we are geeks. We have a regular show called What Does This Button Do? And we do a lot of stuff as a geek. We specialize in Google Photos. Chris is a platinum level product expert for Google Photos. She actually wrote the book there on Learn Google Photos. It's available on Amazon and it's available on our website. Okay, you can find this whole presentation.
Yeah, now this I kind of want to show you. Since we have done so many things just online and over Zoom, I started a while back keeping a record of all of them. And so I do want to show you that. If you go to our website, geeksontour.com, that's our website. And these the menus at the top will get you all of the content of the website. If you click on tutorials and all class presentations, if you click there and then just scroll down, here we are, January 24, 2022, presentation to Golden Gate Computer Society. And there's a bunch more. I don't know if we go back to the last time we presented here, but if you click on January 2024, presentation to Golden Gate Computer Society, you'll see the description and then class materials. So if you click on class materials, photo editing with Google Photos, you will see the slide deck that we're going to be using. And you can just click the arrows and go through the slide deck. So if you kind of missed something during the presentation tonight, it's all here. And you can just scroll through. And every once in a while, there will be a link to a video, and that is a live link, so you can click that. And all these presentations, I let them be public, free for anybody to view for about a month, and then they become for members only. And let me tell you, the basic photo editing features that I'm going to be talking about, you can use the photo editor that came with your iPhone or that came with your Android, the Apple Photos or the Samsung Gallery. They have the same features. I'm going to be showing you Google Photos, and it has even more features, but the other software I'm going to show you is Snapseed, and it is a standalone program. You don't have to use Google Photos in order to use Snapseed, but it helps. So we're talking about editing pictures. First step, take a picture. I'm going to take a photo of Jim, and there's all sorts of stuff around here. Okay, so I take a photo of Jim, and then I'm also going to take a selfie of the two of us with you all in the background. There we go. Oops, I have it on a timer for selfie. That's a tip, by the way. Use the timer for a selfie, then you can reach out and get it framed properly before it snaps the shutter. Okay, so I took that with my Android phone, and I want to look at it now. I want to look at those two pictures that I just took. I am not going to look at it with the Samsung Gallery. I'm going to look at it with Google Photos. That's this icon right here. So you open that. Google Photos is a complete replacement for Samsung Gallery or for Apple Photos on the iPhone. And I just go to my photos, and there are the two pictures I just took. There's the one of just Jim. There's the one of me and Jim. And I'll say, well, gee, he has a fairly nice smile on his face. That's a good picture. But I don't need all this clutter behind him, so I'm going to edit this picture. The edit button is nicely labeled. Here on the Android version, it looks like an adjustment set of sliders. I click edit. Now I have different choices on this bottom row, and for each choice that you make on the bottom row, you get a set of options on the next row up. So first thing is I want to crop it. I tap on crop, and then I can just move the edges in and get closer to Jim. Okay, I like that. And what else can I do? The first option on the main set of options is called suggestions. And I always try enhance. See what enhance does. Usually it brightens up the face a little bit. But now there's some fancy things I can do. Notice it says portrait. If I tap on portrait, it really brightens up. It understands that there's a face in this picture and it puts a spotlight on it. I can even go over to adjust. Oh, nope. It's tools on this one. They keep changing these things. And I can blur the background. Blur. And then you have to tell it, well, how much do you want to blur it? From 0 to 100. And done. And then save copy. And I'll explain that later. Because I use some of the fancy features, the ones with the multicolored one, it won't save over the picture. I have to save copy. But that's my standard methodology. I take a picture, I look at it, I improve it, and then I'm done. And here's the picture of the two of us. And I want to crop out those bright lights in the background. So I'll go edit, crop out the lights, maybe get in a little bit closer to our faces. Go to suggestions and enhance. And now I can just save. Since I didn't use any of the fancy tools, I can save right on top of the existing, so I don't have a copy. And you say allow. All right, so that's the first concept. You take a picture, you can edit it right on your phone right away. And that's iPhone or Android. Now, I did all of that on my Samsung, my Android, but I'll go on to iPhone in a minute. Because Google Photos has 3 versions. It has a web version, it has an iOS, and it has an Android. So I want to show you on the computer that the photos I just took with the Android are there, along with the one I edited. So there's the photo I took of Jim, and there's the edited version I took of Jim. Isn't that a nicer picture? I mean, that's I think. And there's the one the selfie I took of both of us. Now, where is this? How did that happen? I took the picture on my Android phone. Because I use Google Photos and I have turned on the backup and sync, it automatically copies the photos I took up to the web, up to the cloud in my Google Photos account. And I could edit them there too. Let's take this picture. Let's see if I can make it even better. I'll click, notice it's the edit button still looks the same even on the computer. I'll click edit and I'll click crop. That's the third button over here. And how am I going to make this a better picture? Come on. Why did it get so dark? There we go. Yeah, it's taking longer. There.
Ha ha! That'll make it better.
That's a better picture. And when I click done, then that picture has been cropped to just me rather than me and Jim. But if I ever wanted it back, if I wanted him back, I can undo that. I mean, there's only one picture here, but the edit is kind of like a layer. So I can undo that editing. I'll click on the picture that is just me now, click on edit, and then undo edits. And that takes me back to the original that even has the lights on there. And that's fine. I'm just going to leave it at that. So now I want to just show you I want to run through a few photos and show you how they can be improved. And I'm going to demo this using my iPad, so that you will see, number one, that Google Photos works on Apple devices as well, and that the photos that I just took on the Android are showing up on here. So here I am, Google Photos on my iPad. I just opened Google Photos, and you have 4 buttons down here. I'm going to just tap on Photos, and I need to get all the way to the top. There we go. So there's the photo I just took of Jim and me, and the edited one of Jim, and the original one of Jim. But I have some photos that I have selected specifically for demonstrating editing. I find those by tapping on Search and typing Edit. And you see I have an album called Class Edit Examples. So here's a photo, and it's dark. Now you can maybe see that there's a deer in there, right? But it's really dark. If you did not know that you can improve your photos, you would delete this. You would throw it away. It's garbage. It's trash. But if you know that to tap the Edit button and Enhance, boom, it is now a keeper. All I have to do is tap Save and confirm that, and I have a great picture of a deer. Actually, 2 deers.
Dear.
Next one is people. How often have you taken pictures and the people faces are dark? You can't see them because maybe there's some bright light behind. Edit button, Enhance, and the people are brightened up. Save and confirm. And we'll go on to the next picture. And what's wrong with this picture?
All the water's going to run off the edge.
It's
bad.
I hate crooked pictures. And when somebody posts something like this on Facebook, I say, come on, can't you just take a second and straighten it? All you have to do is tap the Edit button, choose Crop. That's the second option over on the bottom level, Crop. And then you have this slider that you can move it until, and you get a grid. So I can line the horizon up with the grid And now it's straight. Save it. Confirm it. Better picture. This one, that's our RV, our old RV. The one that we were in last time we were out with you guys in real life. And the people in the RV behind us took this photo, which I think is great, but I don't want their windshield and their windshield wipers, so I'm going to crop it. Crop. And I can even drag by a corner to get two directions at once, and that's a better picture. So cropping to get the picture that you want out of the picture that was taken. And next one, here's that picture of the mountain. It's also crooked, but I'm going to do a few more things with it. Edit and crop. It's crop and rotate is that tool. Crop and rotate. And you rotate by dragging that 0 point. And that looks straight. But I also want to crop in closer to the mountain. And that puts the mountain right at, notice the crosshairs? That's in what's called the rule of thirds, which is a good photo composition. And now let's see if the suggestions and the enhance. How about dynamic? That's one of those, that's a little bit prettier, but not completely. I want to go over to the adjustments and look at all these. When you select adjust on the first level, you have a ton of options up on the second level. And the one I especially like is called pop. Pop. Now it says, okay, how much pop do you want? It starts at 0. If you rub over and you watch the photo, see how it just gets more definition as I go over. I think this can use all the way to 100. The trees on the side here are really crisp and clear now. So that's a good picture. I'm done with the pop. I can save it and confirm. And go on to the next picture. All right, now this one is a bit special. I click edit, and what's wrong with this picture? We're in the shadows. But if I increase the lighting for the whole picture, the sky would be washed out, right? So I'm going, instead of just the enhance helps a little bit. But if I go into the adjust, and this thing called shadows, if I tap on shadows and tell it how much of the shadow to lighten up, see that? See how our faces get brighter without washing out the sky. And I can just drag it to whatever position I think looks the best. So that's just increasing the light in the shadows. And save. All right. Just wondering how. Okay. And what's the next picture? Oh, this is the same thing, but it's just a extreme example. This is me with my 2 best girlfriends, and you can't even see their faces at all. Edit. Adjust. Shadows. Increase the light in the shadows without washing out the already pretty washed out sky. But we look a little bit fuzzy. I'm going to add pop. now I think that's a pretty good picture. You can see what the original looked like by long pressing. If I tap and hold down on the picture, that was my original. That's my edited. Better picture, right? Done, save, and confirm. Okay. I think those were all of my... So go back 2 slides. So I did an auto enhance brighten, just the enhance, crop and rotate, pop, and brightening just the shadows. Those 4 things, if you learn those 4 things, and they can be done with Apple Photos, with Samsung Gallery, any photo editor on your phone or on your computer has those 4 things. Get used to doing those and you will have better pictures. But there's more. I see a hand up. Hans?
Yeah, I have a question. If I edit a picture in Google Photos, will it sync automatically to my Apple photo library?
Yeah.
Right now I have both. I have
Right.
the Apple library and I have Google Photo, and the 2 of them sync, but I usually go from Apple, then it syncs to Google. But if I edit the picture in Google Photos, will it then also
Yes.
sync the edited version to the Apple library?
Yes, if it was. Now, I was going to say, well, I can show you that because I just took a picture, but I took the picture with my Android. That went up to Google Photos, but it is not in my Apple Photos, right? So, great question, though. I'm going to use my iPad and take a picture. So, you're going to have, no, I shouldn't take one of you. I'm going to take a picture of this coffee mug with the Techno Geek logo on it. Okay. So I just took a picture with my iPad. I will be able to see that picture with Google Photos because Google Photos shows me the pictures on the device. But I will also be able to see it with Apple Photos. So then we are going to... So there's the picture that I just took with the iPad. This is Google Photos. This is Apple Photos. Let me go to Google Photos and edit that. I'm just going to crop it way down so that it's clear, and save and modify. That last little button there where I said modify, that was me giving permission to the Apple system to edit, to apply the edits that I just did in Google Photos. So you do have to tap on that last modify. But if you do, then the Apple puts them at the bottom. All right, so there it is in Apple Photos, and it is cropped.
It's cropped, okay. So I have to hit the modify button.
Yes, you do have to give permission. Apple is very desirous of permissions. You're welcome. And vice versa. If you edited a photo in Apple Photos, here's edit, and here's crop. And if I crop this photo to be just this person, and done. Then when I go back to to Google Photos, that should be there. That's the one that I just cropped. So yes, as long as you're working with photos that are on the device.
I guess if I want to keep the original and also make a cropped version, I guess I have to make a copy of it.
Yeah, but when you are editing, you will have the option to do a save a copy. I just tapped save, but there is the option to save a copy after you've done an edit. So then you have your original and your edited copy.
Or save a copy that saves the original.
Right.
And the edit, or you have to do that before?
Yeah. It's when I tap save, it gives me an option to either save, which creates one, or it says save a copy, which leaves the original alone and puts your edits in a copy. All right. So there's a couple of extra little fancy, relatively new features that Google Photos has added in, I don't know, somewhere in like the last 6 months. If you subscribe to Google One. So meaning, you probably, most of you have heard, Google Photos used to be 100% unlimited for free. Last June, that changed, and you have 15 gigabytes for free, and when you want more than that, you have to pay for it. If you pay for additional storage, that makes you a Google One member, and you get some extra editing features if you are a Google One member. And this video shows you some of those features. Hi, this is Chris Guld with Geeks On Tour and Learn Google Photos. And in this video, I want to show you how you can enhance pictures of people by blurring the backgrounds and using color pop. Let me show you what I mean. This is currently only available on the Android version of Google Photos. Google Photos, and here are 3 pictures of people. If I tap on Edit, notice that one of the options, well, Enhance just kind of brightens it a little bit, but because there's a person in it, I get black and white portrait. I don't care for black and white portrait, but what's this color pop? What it does is it keeps the person in the foreground in full color, and it mutes the background color. It doesn't put it completely in black and white, but it makes it kind of gray. Now you can also go over to Adjustments and adjust that color focus. So color focus, it's at 100%, so that's as much differentiation between the color and the black and white that I'm going to get. But let me just show you what it does. So if I go all the way over 0, the background is in full color. All the way over to 100, and it's kind of grayed. I can also blur the background. There. Now it really makes his face stand out like a portrait. Done, and save copy. Let's try another one. Here's a picture of me and Jim at a play. Now the background is absolutely unimportant. In fact, I really don't like the fact that there's people in the background. I can't get rid of them completely, but if I go into Edit and then Adjustments and blur, I can blur out the people in the background. That's a nicer picture. It makes it clear that the picture is us, not the people in the background. But I can also go into color focus and turn them black and white. Now, if you have an Android and you don't get these options, it's not available on every phone. You need to have a fairly high-end phone to have these options. Done. And actually, I'm going to cancel that and discard, so I can go to the next picture. And this is just another example. I really don't care for the cars in the background to be in focus. So edit and adjust and blur. And I just want them blurred. They don't need to go to black and white. I like the color. But doesn't that make the people stand out to have the background blurred? I love that. Save copy. And that is enhance photos of people with color pop and blur background. But that video, all that stuff still works, but it was made before they decided to make those Google One extra editing options. It's available on both the Android and on the iPhone now, but you must be a Google One subscriber. And let me just show you that. It's still on the iPad. And I'll choose that same photo that was shown in the video. If I tap edit, notice there is color pop. And it has the little multicolored one badge on it. So that means I am only seeing color pop because I do pay the extra, I'm paying $2 a month, right? $20 a year for this feature. I tap color pop. Now the background is black and white. And I go into adjustments and blur and put it all blurry. And then I think I'll also warm up our skin tones a little bit. Warmth. Yeah. And remember, how do I see my original so I can compare and see if I like what I've done? You just long press on the picture. That's the original. That's the edited one. And I like it. Done. Save copy. When you use those extra fancy features, you're forced to save a copy. Okay, I think that's all I have for Google Photos. Now I want to go on to Snapseed. So if there's any other questions. What is Snapseed? Snapseed is a whole other app. It is by Google, or Google bought it from Nick a long time ago. And it's free. It is a free app. You do need to go to either your App Store or your Play Store. It's both Android and iPhone, and get Snapseed. But, read these quotes. It is really good. The photography school says Snapseed is one of the most popular photo editing apps for iPhone. It excels in all basic. If you're new to iPhone, this should be your first photo editor app that you download and learn. So it's lots of authorities who say this is the best. It's only on the mobile devices. It is not on the computer at all. There is no way to use Snapseed on a computer. You can use it on a Chromebook, however, because it's an Android app. You can use the Android app on a Chromebook. Next. So we have a whole learning guide. I call it a class on Snapseed. If you want to learn more about Snapseed, this is a reason to become a member at Geeks On Tour, because this is for members only. If you go to geeksontour.com, on the tutorials menu and learning guide, there's lots of them. There is a whole learning guide on Snapseed, but we're going to show you a bit of it tonight. So you can use it standalone. or you can use it. So for those of you who don't use Google Photos, you can perk up now because this is another app called Snapseed. But if you do use Google Photos, it makes it very easy to go from Google Photos to Snapseed and back. So first I want to show you just the app itself. And I think I'm going to go to my iPhone now. So there's my iPhone, and there is Snapseed. It's just this little green leaf icon. And I can tap on Snapseed and tap on the plus, but now it's only going to show me pictures that are on this device. So there's that one from that photo that I took. And all sorts of tools you can use. Let's say I wanted to make this black and white. I mean, that's, I would go to Tune Image and then look at my options, saturation, and there. I took all the saturation out. Now it's black and white. But there's so much more you can do with. And then in Snapseed, if I want to save this, I have to tap Export. Export, and then Save and Modify. So that's just Snapseed standalone. Now, what about from Google Photos? If I go to Google Photos, that's my icon for Google Photos, the pinwheel looking thing. And this is actually a good example. It's just a palm tree, but it's kind of a blah palm tree. I want to edit it in Snapseed, not in Google Photos. On the iPhone, you swipe up and you should see Open in Snapseed. If you have the Snapseed app installed on your phone, Open in Snapseed. Now I can choose tools. Look at all those tools. Snapseed has a lot of tools. If anybody here is a Photoshop, you used Photoshop in the past, Snapseed has been called the Photoshop of mobile devices. And I especially like this one called HDR Scape. Look what that did. I can still long press on the picture. There's my original. There's the Snapseed feature called HDR Scape. And I can say, okay, I like that. I tap the check mark. Then to save it, you have to tap Export and Save. Now here's the rub. Where did this come from? Snapseed is on this phone. But I opened this photo using Google Photos, right? To get back to Google Photos, I have to go home and then to Google Photos. And there was my original palm tree, and I would have to know the date. The edited one gets put in the same date as the original, and I don't know what the date was of that original one. Okay. On the Android, if I want to edit something in Snapseed, first I want my sample photos. Okay. So here's a photo, kind of blah. In Android, to go to Snapseed from Google Photos, you tap Edit, and then from the bottom layer of choices, you go all the way over to the right to More. And then under More, you get Snapseed. And I'm just going to choose this look called Morning. Wow. I love how that looks. And in the Android, all I have to do to go back to Google Photos is tap Done. And I can go look at that edited picture, or I can go back to my edit examples and see the original. See, this is something, because I have these samples in an album, the edited copies don't go into that album. They're just loose. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the Android now to do more Snapseed. And this picture. It's a pretty picture, but it's awfully dark. Yes? I could just edit it in Google Photos and lighten the shadows, but watch what happens if I use the HDR Scape button in Snapseed. Edit, all the way over to More, and Snapseed. Then I want the tool called HDR Scape. Now, first of all, already that looks lots better, doesn't it? It tells me at the top that the filter strength is 50. Once you're in Snapseed, and as I say, we have a whole course just on Snapseed, you can rub your finger up and down to get different choices on this tool. So if I say filter strength, now I can rub my finger left and right to get more or less. So there is no HDR Scape. I rub to the right, and there is 100% HDR Scape. I hope you're impressed with that picture that way. I mean, now you can see the boats. The sunset looks so much richer than that. So that's HDR Scape. If you like it, you check mark it. If you're done, you tap Done, and now you're back to Google Photos. Snapseed always makes a copy, so your original is untouched. There is my original, and the copy, edited copy, is in a Snapseed folder. Okay. Healing. Oh, I'm on the next. Yeah, I did this, I think. Yeah. So these are, I'm demonstrating HDR Scape, Healing, Brush, and Tune Image. So here's one. I like this picture, but it's a little bit blah. Edit. I'm going to use Snapseed, so I go over to More and Snapseed. Tools. And the first tool is called Tune Image. And I think it's first for a reason. All the good stuff, all the basic good stuff is in Tune Image. What are they? Rub up and down and you see all the possible choices under Tune Image. And I love this one called Ambiance. So that was rubbing your finger up and down. Now rubbing your finger left and right gives you more or less of ambiance. So I'll rub my finger to the right. Notice how the sky gets bluer, but the picnic tables also come out of the shadows. So look at the picnic tables. They're dark as I rub to the left. and they're light as I rub to the right. Then look at the sky. It's totally washed out when I'm at the left, but it's rich and blue and beautiful if I rub to the right. That is ambiance. I like it. I tap done. And one more. And then we'll any questions come up? Healing. This picture on he's got a scratch on his face. How can we get rid of that scratch? Not with Google Photos we can't, but with Snapseed we can. Edit. And more. And Snapseed. And that tool is called Healing. And it looks like a little Band-Aid. There we go. 2 Band-Aids. Healing. And you can zoom in a little bit to make sure you're getting the right spot. And watch carefully. This is tricky. All I have to do is touch. And he's healed. I like it. I check mark. And I'm done. And
Brush.
that's, let's brush. The brush tool, I'm going to use this one as an example. So you may, other than that healing, which only happened where I touched it, most of the other options affect the whole picture. But if you want to affect parts of a picture, that's what the brush tool is for. Edit, and more, and Snapseed, and tools, and brush. So with this, I think the sky should be bluer. That's considered a temperature, a cooler temperature. So I tap on temperature and I go to -10. That's a cooler temperature. Now I just rub in this. I just rub in the sky. See how that's gotten blue? But right here by the sunset, I would like it to be warmer, look like a sunset. So I'll change the temperature, and then I'll rub. What do you think? That's like finger painting. It's so much fun. So I've made this a more vibrant picture, blues and warms. Check mark, and done. And there's so much more, but I gotta stop. And I see we do have a couple of questions, or just one?
I have a Google Pixel 4a, and I pay for extra storage, but my menus are different. Do I need to update my Google Photos app?
Well, that certainly sounds like a good idea, because yes, if you pay for extra storage, you are a Google One member and you should have those extra menus. So, good idea. Update your app. See if it changes. And did I say, Hans has a hand up.
Yeah, the healing function. Can you use that to remove any small unwanted object in your photo?
Yes and no. A small blemish, I mean, you saw it works beautifully for a little blemish in a spot. It's not so good at removing whole objects. You have to, you have to work at it a little bit. And there might be better tools. I have found better tools for removing whole objects. But for little blemishes, yes.
Telephone wire?
What?
What about removing a telephone wire?
Nah, no,
No?
no.
Okay.
There are some apps though that specialize in that type of thing, but this is not the tool for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Do phone apps work in both portrait and landscape orientation?
Generally, no. It forces you into portrait. That's the way the programmers have laid it out. Except, as you noticed on the iPad, that's kind of why I like showing the iPad, because it can do it in landscape, and you see the whole length of the menus better that way. But on the phones, it pretty much forces you.
Can you do a double exposure?
Yes. Yeah, that's more than we have time for here, but I've done a couple examples of double exposure that are pretty cool. In Snapseed. Not in Google Photos, but in Snapseed you can do a double exposure. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this one.
All right.
So if you use or are thinking about using Google Photos, you should have the book, right?
All right.
Oh.
And which one is that? 686.
686.
All right.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Chris Guld with Geeks On Tour, and ever since I got my first digital camera in 1999, I've taken lots of digital photos. Now with my smartphone, I take thousands of them. In the early days, I used Picasa to manage them all, and I liked Picasa so much that I wrote a book on it. But in 2015, Google Photos took over from Picasa. I now have nearly 100,000 photos in my Google Photos. And if you want to get the most out of Google Photos, I wrote this book for you. Let's take a look. So it is a complete reference. I hope that when you get it, you will skim through the whole book to get an understanding of Google Photos, and then you can use it to look up anything you want. Let's just take a little look at the table of contents. We start by explaining how your Google account is in control of everything, then getting started on mobile devices, collecting the rest of your life's photos, all the ones that are on your computer and other digital cameras, getting around in Google Photos, how to find the moments you're looking for. The search is amazing. Keeping your memories safe, talking about backups here. Editing, Google Photos has a great photo editor. Organizing with albums and favorites, sharing, and surrounding yourself with photos and creations. I love the photo books that Google Photos can make me. If you want to buy the book, please visit the companion website called learngooglephotos.com. You can scroll down, grab the book, learn more. Here are links to the different ways you can buy it, including the spiral bound edition. And then there is a complete description, chapter by chapter, of everything that's in the book.
All right.
All right, so we have some review questions just to see if you caught what we were talking about for photo editing, and then I am also prepared to do a little bit on maps.
Okay. So did you learn something? You can just unmute and shout it out if you want, or I'll just ask Chris. True or false? You need a computer to edit photos with Google Photos.
False. Right.
If people's faces are dark but the background is bright, use what adjustment? A, exposure, B, HDR, C, shadows, or D, brightness?
Shadows.
Good.
Very good.
True or false? If you saved edits using Google Photos, you can undo these edits to get back to the original.
True.
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 Ambiance is a setting found in A, Google Photos, B, Snapseed, or C, both.
Snapseed.
Just in
Snapseed.
Snapseed, right. And what Snapseed tool will remove a scratch? Is that brush, heal, curves, or HDR Scape?
B.
Heel.
I heard it. Heal. They were listening.
Hot
All
dog.
right. All right.
Cool. You said they wouldn't listen.
So do you
All
want?
right.
Can you save more than one edit?
Can you save more than one edit?
You can
Yes, so
save
you have
as.
So you can have maybe 3 different edits of the same picture.
Oh, sure.
And you save each one.
Sure. You would just, instead of saving, you would save copy. Each time you did it, you would save
So
copy.
you would save copy 1, copy 2, copy 3, etc.
Yes. Yes, you can. Boy, I wouldn't, though. You end up with so many duplicates anyway. But, okay.
I'll throw one away.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, we want to remind you to sign up for our free newsletters at geeksontour.com. We will not inundate your email box, and we will not abuse your email address. It's just something that we use to stay in touch. So,
Google MyMaps. Hi, this is Chris Guld with Geeks On Tour, and this video is about how to make a travel map using Google MyMaps. First, let me show you some past ones that I've done. Here on our Geeks On Tour travel blog, we have a whole page just for our maps, and I just love this. I can go back in time to any year and see every place that we went. I make these maps with Google MyMaps, so let me show you how. You go to mymaps.google.com. Make sure you're logged in with your Google account. From then on, this will be your filing cabinet for all of your maps. I'm going to create a new map for 2021. It starts off untitled. I want to give it a title. I could also give it a description. I'm not going to this time. Now I will start adding places. Well, back in January, we went to the Tampa Super Show, and it was at the Florida State Fairgrounds in Tampa, Florida. I just search for that location. It takes me there, and it drops a marker. I could just add that to the map, but I prefer to have my own marker. So I just grab that little marker tool and click wherever I want it. I think we were actually over here. And I will call that RV Super Show and save it. Now, the reason I use my own marker is because I will be adding photos. And if I use the Google marker, I will get photos that other people have added there. I only want my own. The next place we went was in Perry, Georgia. And if I zoom in a little bit here, I see the Georgia National Fairgrounds. That's exactly where it was, so I'll grab a marker and put it right there. And this was FMCA. The next place that we are booked to speak is in Gillette, Wyoming. I will add a marker. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to see the Camplex. That's exactly where it's going to be. I click the marker and click on Camplex, and that is also an FMCA. And last is in Rock Springs, and specifically at the Sweetwater Events Complex. Grab a marker, put it down. Now let's zoom out and see what this looks like. So those are all the places that were booked to speak. I would call that work. But we did go one place. We went to the Keys for the weekend. we visited some friends who were staying at a place called Futura Yacht Club in Tavernier. And I'll put a marker there. But notice that that just got added to the list of the places that we're working. That's not good. I'm going to make another layer. So I will call this layer work and make a new layer called play. Now I can drag this weekend with friends. You got to grab right on the little icon and there until you get a hold of it, and then drag it down. So now I have the one thing down there, and now that I have these two separate, I would like the icons to look different. So instead of individual styles, I am going to make the work be a uniform style, and you click the little paint can next to all items, and I have an icon on here that is our logo. It's a custom icon, so I have to go get it. And OK. So now if we zoom out and look at the whole map, it'll be easy to tell what were Geeks on Tour stops and what was a play stop. One more thing. For this play stop, I want a photo. So I click on Photos. And what photos do you think this is taking me to? Your Photos means your photos in Google Photos. And it's showing me my Google Photos albums. So here in May, I have a pretty sunset picture from our weekend in the Keys. And now that is going to be attached to that marker, and anytime I click on it, I will see that picture. I do not have to save the whole map. It is saved for me online. I will find this in my MyMaps. So if I want to find this again, I would just go to MyMaps. Make sure you are logged in. And there is the 2021 travel map. Let me show you our completed 2021 travel map. So I just go to, let's see, Maps, no, MyMaps, not just maps.google.com. You know, that's just the map where you can look up anything, but where you store your created maps is MyMaps. And it's not mymaps.com, it's mymaps.google.com. And you will see 20 on my, I'm logged in to my account, and there is, we did pretty good in 2021. What was that, 6,000 miles?
Something like that.
Something like that. And yeah, notice I use different icons that mean different things to me. And if I click on one where there's a camera, I hope there, oh, we stopped.
Yeah, this is Riverside, Iowa is the future birthplace of James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. This is where he will be born in March of 22,
26. 22, 28.
What a hoot. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So we really did go there. And I put it on our map.
Yeah. Well, is it live long and prosper?
And if you go to our blog, which is geeksontour.blog, and click on our maps, this is where you will see. So there is our map for 2021. There was what we were supposed to do in 2020, and then compared to what we actually did, which was nothing. And 2019 and 2018 and 2017. I just love having these maps. So easy to remember then where we were in different years. So that is Google MyMaps. Yes, Hans, I see a hand up.
So Google MyMaps is a website or an app?
Yes. Mainly, it is a website, mymaps.google.com. There is an Android app called MyMaps, but it has very small amount of functionality compared to the website, and there is no MyMaps app for the iPhone. Okay, so that's MyMaps, and we do, just like we have a whole class on Snapseed, we have a whole class on our website for MyMaps if you want to learn how to do all that. Now here, this is just another little one. Another Google Maps feature is Street View. Hi, this is Chris Guld with Geeks On Tour, and in this video I want to show you how to use Street View in the computer interface. First of all, it's at maps.google.com, and then you grab this little peg man, drop him off on any blue line. Then you can move around, you can see where you are by putting a map in a split screen, and I'll show you how to exit. Here we go. So you start at maps.google.com. Then you can go to any place in the world. I'm going to go to Big Sur. And here we are. I'm going to zoom in a little closer to the road and decide what part of the road I want to look at. Right here below the Bixby Creek Bridge. So what you do, you grab this little guy in the lower right hand corner. He's called Pegman. So click and hold and drag him, and notice how he's kind of hanging onto my hand. He's swinging around, and you just drop him off on a blue line. Anywhere you see the blue line is where Street View exists. So I drop him off, and voila, we're in Street View. But I have no idea. I don't see a road. I don't see a street. What you do is you click and hold on any spot and drag around. That is moving your view. And then if you want to move along the road, you don't have to wait for the traffic. You just click the arrow. And as each time you click the arrow, it moves that amount of space along the road. But now I wanted to go north from the place that I dropped it off. It looks to me like I'm probably going south, but to know for sure, here is the map inset. And I want the map's inset to be even bigger. You click this expand button. Now you have a split screen. So in the top of the screen, you're seeing the Street View, and in the bottom you're seeing the map. And yes, I'm headed south, so I'm going to spin it around just by dragging my mouse. And now I click ahead. Looks like there's construction going on the day that they took these pictures. Now, when were these pictures taken? It wasn't live. It says right up here, this was taken by Street View in August of 2019. Okay, I think I'm starting to see the bridge up ahead now, but I want to point out something. The license plates are a privacy issue, and Google blurs them out. So I'm just scrolling my mouse wheel to zoom in to see the back of this car ahead of me, and notice that the license plate is blurred out. Now I zoom back out. I want to go across that bridge. So I keep clicking on the arrow to go across. Now, why are these cars parked to the side? Ah, there's a pullout. Oh, and look, there is an RV. That's something that I look for. I don't know that I would drive an RV on this road, but one thing I would look for is how many other RVs are driving on this road. I'm going to spin around and see what this lookout is for. Oh yeah, there's a nice view looking back south of the bridge. Kind of foggy. And now when you're finished doing what you want to do with Street View, you get out by clicking on the back arrow within the upper left-hand corner. And just a couple other things to show you. One, I want to take you to Area 51, just for some fun. When you pick up the little peg man when you're in Area 51, check it out. He becomes a flying saucer, a little space flying saucer. And the last thing I want to show you is over in Europe. How do you see where the Street View exists? It is all over the world, but it is not everywhere. So for example, when I'm looking at a map of all of Europe and I pick up Pegman, you will see all those blue lines means where Street View exists. There isn't much in Germany, and that's for legal issues. And there isn't much in Afghanistan. Now, some of these places it's for legal issues, some of these places it's just because the Google Street View car hasn't gotten there yet. And that is how you use Street View on a computer.
Cool. Chris, you can also just click the Pegman without dragging, and that will highlight all the blue lines in the map so you can get an idea where you might want to drag and drop Pegman.
Okay.
Subsequently.
So it sounds like somebody here uses the Street View. It is so cool. Steve.
Yes, I have a question. I live on a key lot. In other words, there's a house in front of us that Google sees, their house, but they don't see my house when they do their drive-by. I've heard that there's a way to add your own pictures to Street View, but I'm not quite sure how that works. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh.
I think you need to have a 360 camera and get the...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you use, and we did cover some of this in our What Does This Button Do show that was on Street View and Timeline, and I'll show you where the link is to that in a minute. But there is actually a Street View app. I mean, a completely standalone Street View app. And if you open it up, it has the capability to take the 360 photos, the 360 panorama photos, and you can upload them. They have to be reviewed by Google, and I've never actually done it.
No.
So I don't know a whole lot there, but I think what you're talking about is
Yes, you can submit them.
The Street View app that will take those 360-degree photos.
Cool.
Okay, and I think we just have one more little thing, and it's not a video, it's just something I want to show, I think. Isn't there one before that? Yeah, timeline. So that's just the other little secret. Oh, Hans, I see a hand up. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. How often is the Street View updated?
It depends.
It's regular, but yeah, major metropolitan areas get the cars running through regularly. Rural areas, it's hit or miss, as far as my experience.
Yeah,
But I saw Google. No,
An
Amazon.
Apple Maps.
Apple Maps
car. They have it
in
too.
our neighborhood just recently.
Yeah.
And I looked I went online to Apple Maps to see if I could spot our, but we didn't see that. So I don't know how long it takes for it to actually get updated and up online and that kind of stuff. But at least with Google Maps, it will tell you a date of when that was taken.
Okay. All right.
So timeline is what happens when you have turned on your location history with Google. So if you go to your Google account and you check the box that says, please do track my location history, this is a privacy issue. Some people really object to this. I personally absolutely love it. And I'll show you what my location history looks like. Now this is something on a browser. This is just a Google Maps thing. So you go to maps.google.com on a browser or on your phone, but the browser does things that the phone doesn't do in this case. Click on the 3-line menu and your timeline. Your timeline. On a browser, the initial view will be every place that you have ever been that Google location history has stored.
It's a little
it's taking a little time here. Oh no, that's right.
A lot of places, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have. But what's going on right now is this is not actually a computer that I'm on. I'm on a Chromebook. And for some reason, when I click on those 3 lines and timelines, it takes me to the app. I don't want the app. I want the browser. So therefore, I'm going to force it by actually typing in timeline.google.com. And that should then go to the screen that shows every place that has ever been recorded for me by Google. And I love this. I say, look at that. I've been just about everywhere in the United States. I've also been a few places in Europe, a little bit in South and Central America, and then over in New Zealand and Australia. What if I just wanted to see where I went in 2021? I could just click on year 2021, and now every place where I was in 2021 is showing up. What if I wanted to see just where I was in July of 2021? Looks like we were in the Colorado area. How about August? And then and you just get a red dot then of every place that gets recognized by Google Maps. But if you choose a particular day, and I think it was August 28th. If you get down to the day level, it will show you a route that you took. So on August 28, 2021, we drove from Norfolk, Virginia to Greenville, North Carolina. And it will even tell us we left Portsmouth Elks Lodge at 9:50 a.m. And here are the photos that we took at Portsmouth Elks Lodge. We were driving and we stopped at a grocery store at Food Lion. We stopped at a Tractor Supply. Oh, that must have been for propane, yeah. And then we ended up at 5:56 p.m. at big meal, bed and breakfast. So that's just, and you know, it has that for our lives.
It's pretty cool that we do all of that stuff.
Okay. I'm
right.
done. I'm happy to answer any. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not quite done, am I? So I just want to remind you that everything we've shown you tonight, except for maybe the live demonstrations, you can find on our website. And let me go there. So you go to geeksontour.com, the tutorials menu, and all class presentations.
Or it's right on the front screen. You just scroll down.
Classes is on the front screen. Yeah, same thing. And you will see January 24, presentation to Golden Gate. Click there. And there's even more here than what we showed you, because this is the link to the photo editing. We did go through all the features of the photo editing, but here is a link to the map making class, map making with Google MyMaps. If you click there, you get our full course on Google MyMaps. And if you click here on StreetView and Timeline, you will get to our complete, what does this button do? Our YouTube show, where we did about an hour on StreetView and Timeline. So that will be publicly available for about a month, and then I make it private for members only.
Any other questions?